Darci Lynn farmer first appeared on national television as a wide-eyed kid from Oklahoma holding a puppet and a dream. With a soft accent, a steady voice, and a nervous smile, she reminded audiences of something television had almost forgotten: wonder without irony. She didn't rely on spectacle or shock. She sang old standards with maturity beyond her years, letting a ventriloquist's dummy say the things she was too shy to say herself. Viewers didn't just see talent, they saw vulnerability. Week after week, she returned to the stage calmer, braver, more confident. By the time she won America's Got Talent in 2017, she wasn't just a champion. She was a symbol of innocence, surviving in an industry known for chewing people up. For millions watching at home, Darci felt like proof that magic still existed, that success could be gentle, joyful, and earned without losing your soul. A quiet childhood arc from the spotlight. Long before the standing ovations, Darci's life was defined by stillness. Raised in Oklahoma City by supportive parents, she was known as polite, reserved, and deeply introspective. Singing was never about fame for her. It was refuge. She performed for family, for church crowds, for empty rooms where no one could judge her. Public attention terrified her. Even compliments felt overwhelming. That fear followed her into school talent shows, where nerves nearly silenced her altogether. Everything changed when she discovered ventriloquism. The puppet gave her distance from the spotlight, a way to perform without fully being seen. Suddenly, she could be bold, funny, even defiant, as long as the words came from someone else. That creative workaround didn't erase her fear, but it gave her a path forward. Slowly, the shy child learned to stand taller, not because the fear disappeared, but because she finally had something worth facing it for. Finding confidence through a forgotten art, ventriloquism isn't trendy. It's meticulous, old-fashioned, and brutally difficult. For Darci, that challenge became her anchor. She trained obsessively, practicing breath control, vocal placement, and emotional timing for hours a day. Under the guidance of experienced mentors, she learned how to turn nervous energy into comedic rhythm and vulnerability into strength. Each puppet became a different version of herself: playful, dramatic, sarcastic, fearless. Audiences didn't just hear singing, they heard character. Viral performances followed, and suddenly Darci was appearing on television shows, local stages, and online clips shared millions of times. Still, she remained grounded, often reminding interviewers that she wasn't chasing fame. She just loved performing. What few people noticed was how quickly the pace accelerated. Appearances became expectations. Opportunities became obligations. The very art that helped her feel safe now placed her squarely in the center of an industry that rarely slows down for anyone, especially children. Overnight fame and the weight of success. Winning America's Got Talent changed everything, immediately and completely. Within months, Darci was touring nationally, appearing on major broadcasts, and performing in sold-out theaters. To the public, it looked like a dream unfolding exactly as it should. Behind the scenes, it was relentless. Schoolwork happened in transit. Rehearsals replaced weekends. Every creative decision came with layers of approval. Well-meaning adults reminded her how lucky she was whenever exhaustion showed. Gratitude became expected, not optional. For a teenager still figuring out who she was, the pressure to remain cheerful, marketable, and familiar never let up. She learned quickly that success came with conditions. Stay recognizable, Stay agreeable, stay the same. Growth felt risky, change felt discouraged. While fans continued to celebrate her image, Darci quietly carried the weight of living up to a version of herself frozen in time. A version she was rapidly outgrowing, when applause doesn't tell the whole story. As years passed, the gap between public perception and private reality widened. On stage, Darci smiled effortlessly. Off stage, she struggled with burnout and creative frustration. The industry thrives on consistency, but artists grow by experimenting. Whenever she hinted at evolving, writing her own music, performing without puppets, redefining her sound, the response was cautious at best, sometimes dismissive, sometimes silent. Moments that played as light-hearted banter on television occasionally carried emotional weight she didn't know how to articulate yet. She was praised for professionalism, but rarely asked how she felt. The applause was loud, but conversations were shallow. Over time, that disconnect took a toll. Darci began to feel unseen, not ignored, but misunderstood. Loved for what she represented, not who she was becoming. It's a strange loneliness to be celebrated everywhere and still feel unheard, especially when your career began before you fully had a voice of your own. Choosing growth over comfort. Returning to familiar stages later in her teens, Darci made a quiet but significant decision. She would try something new. She stepped forward without puppets, picked up a guitar, and sang as herself. It was vulnerable, it was imperfect, and it mattered deeply to her. Some viewers praised the courage. Others questioned why she would abandon what made her famous. That reaction revealed the trap she'd been living in. Reinvention is applauded until it makes people uncomfortable. For Darci, the choice wasn't about rejecting her past. It was about claiming her future. Growth meant risking disappointment, criticism, and misunderstanding. It meant letting go of guaranteed applause for honest expression. The experience forced her to confront a hard truth. Staying safe often meant staying small. For the first time, she began prioritizing her own creative instincts over expectations placed on her since childhood, even when that choice felt lonely. Speaking up without shouting. As she entered adulthood, Darci began reflecting on her journey with new clarity. She spoke carefully, thoughtfully, never sensationally. When she acknowledged feeling pressured or constrained, it wasn't framed as accusation, but as truth from lived experience. Legal discussions that surfaced publicly were handled with restraint, focusing on personal well-being rather than spectacle. Details remained private, and assumptions were avoided. What mattered wasn't blame, it was boundaries. For Darci, speaking up wasn't about tearing anything down. It was about naming what hurt so she could move forward honestly. That distinction mattered. In an industry where silence is often the price of opportunity, her calm insistence on self-respect resonated. She wasn't trying to rewrite history. She was trying to reclaim authorship of her own story. And in doing so, she reminded others that advocating for yourself doesn't require anger, just courage. A broader conversation about young talent. Darci's story landed during a moment when audiences were already questioning how reality television treats its performers, especially minors. Viewers began asking harder questions about workload, creative control, and emotional support. The conversation expanded beyond one person and toward an entire system built on fast fame and slow aftercare. What responsibilities do producers have? once the cameras stop rolling? How do young artists transition into adulthood without being trapped by their childhood image? These aren't easy questions, but they're necessary. Darci didn't present herself as a victim or a crusader. She simply existed honestly within the discussion. That authenticity gave others permission to reflect on their own experiences. Former contestants, industry workers, and fans alike began acknowledging that success shouldn't come at the cost of identity. When the spotlight fades, what remains should be a human being, not a brand left searching for itself. Finding a voice beyond the spotlight, Darci Lynn. Farmer's journey isn't a tragedy, and it isn't a fairy tale. It's a human story, one about talent, pressure, growth, and self-definition. She gave the world joy when she was young, and when she grew older, she asked for space to evolve. That shouldn't be controversial. It should be expected. Her legacy may ultimately extend beyond trophies or viral performances. It may live in the way she quietly challenged an industry to listen better, care deeper, and remember that behind every feel-good story is a real person learning who they are in real time. Whether she fills stadiums again or keeps singing in small rooms, Darci has already done something remarkable. She found her voice, not through a puppet, not through applause, but through honesty. And sometimes that's the bravest performance of all.